What if I told you the world did end in 2012? Do not watch if you're easily paranoid. So back in 2012, if you remember, the world was supposed to end. Now obviously, it didn't end. But what if I told you it did? And we're living in a parallel universe. In 2012, scientists at CERN found the particle known as the Higgs boson. This is famously known as the God particle. Now this particle was the one that Stephen Hawking said would destroy the whole universe if found. And well, they found it, experimented with it, and then created a black hole leading us to a different timeline. I think since 2012, me and you can agree the world has been a pretty odd place. For example, all the Mandela effects that have been happening. Like Curious George not having a tail, yet he's a monkey. But that's not the only proof. Another famous scientist, known as Terrence McKenna, said the world wouldn't end in 2012, but a mass change of reality would take place.
Here's a quick conspiracy about Shrek that you should know about. So Shrek has a total of 4 movies. Shrek 1, Shrek 2, Shrek 3, and Shrek 4. Now the last Shrek movie was made in 2010, and the very first Shrek movie was made in 2001. So I decided to take the year that the last Shrek movie was made and subtract it by the year the first Shrek movie was made. And when you subtract the 2 years, you get the number 9. Now pay very close attention because this is when stuff starts to get creepy. The number 9 is also a song made by Drake. That's right, guys. Drake is actually Shrek. At first, I didn't believe it, but then after a little bit of research, I finally found something that I wish I've never seen. This is a picture of Drake being caught as Shrek. And then this all started adding up to me. The last Shrek movie came out 2010, and Drake's first album came out 2010. After Drake finally finished filming for Shrek, he decided to become a rapper. Spread the news.
Okay, I have a major conspiracy theory. I was scrolling through TikTok and I saw this girl who posted a video saying that she had a dream that on May 10th, 2020, quarantine would be lifted. But on May 10th, 1994, Mandela was elected president. And if you don't know, there was thousands of people who had a memory of him dying in 1980 in a prison. And all evidence of his death was gone, nowhere to be found. And that is where you get the Mandela effect. I went into the comment section and there was a few people saying that they had the same dream that quarantine would be lifted on May 10th. And there was also a book published predicting that there would be a pandemic in 2020 as well as the world ending. So I started doing more research into the whole world ending because as we all know, there's been multiple times that the world was predicted to end, but it never did. But what if it actually did end? I found multiple articles suggesting that when the world was predicted to end, we actually shifted into an alternate dimension. Part 2's up right now, I'm running out of time. Okay, part 2 of my conspiracy theory. Every time that the world was predicted to end, we actually switched into an alternate dimension. A dimension exactly the same as the first one we were in, but slightly different, like details of the past have changed. For example, in the Star Wars movie, we all know the famous line, Luke, I am your father. But if you go back and watch the original 1980 film, it says, no, I am your father. And my dad said that he had watched an interview and the guy who plays Darth Vader confirmed that he did say Luke, not no. He also said that C-3PO was all gold. And there was action figures of him sold being gold and he remembered it as a child. And when we went back and watched the 1977 film, one of his legs is silver. So going back to the TikTok that I watched. She predicted that on May 10th, quarantine would be lifted, and I know what you're all thinking. How can quarantine just be lifted on May 10th? This is a pandemic. Part 3 is up now. Part 3 of my conspiracy theory. In the TikTok I watched, she had a dream that on May 10th, quarantine would be lifted, but she also says, what if May 10th is the reset date? Now we go back to the book that predicted that in 2020 the world would end. What if the world was supposed to end on May 10th, 2020, but we actually just switched dimensions again? And what if it's the coronavirus that next falls into the Mandela effect? The only way quarantine would be lifted is if it was completely gone. And the only way for it to be completely gone is if we shifted into another dimension and it doesn't exist anymore. Sorry, I'm getting really excited. And then later down the line, when we're all like, wait, like, wasn't there another pandemic? There will be no evidence of it because we will be in another dimension, okay? Okay. Also, don't come for me. Like, this is just a theory. It was like a late night thought, but kind of mind-blowing to me at the same time. So just, yeah.
What if I told you we are living in a simulation? Do not watch if you're easily paranoid. 2 years ago, on September 7th, Elon Musk said, "We are most likely living in a simulation. There is a higher chance of being in a simulation than being in base reality itself." And then to prove this further, famous astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson said there's a 50% chance that this is actually true. Now for some proof, look at all these Mandela effects that happen. Like the Monopoly man not having a monocle, but everyone remembers he did. Or what about the glitches that happen in our own life? Now for the last thing to actually think about, look at the video game The Sims. We control them. What if one day we found out how to give these Sims free will, but they don't know they're in a simulation, so they could just do whatever they want, and they found out how to make another simulation game like The Sims. So now we just have a spiral of simulations that just keep on getting made and made and made.
So, there's a conspiracy theory going around. I don't personally think it's a conspiracy theory, but I think it's weird. But when you type English words and break them up, and you put it into Somali and you translate it into English, it gives you really weird responses. So I tried, "Are you okay?" And it said, "Do you have a dog?" "I hope you're happy. Do you like it?" And these aren't really weird. "What would you like? When you look at it, you cry." Okay. "I am sad. I love you." Okay. "Somali is cool. Would you like to join me?" And I forgot to screenshot it, but I did something that was like, "Who are you?" And it was like, "He goes." And so I said, "Where does he go?" And it said, "When will you do it?" Now it's getting weird. Who? Hide it. Now this one. "When will I die?" Whenever you can? Like I said, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory, but I do think it's weird.
So what's considered by many to be the last episode of Tom and Jerry, Tom falls in love with a white cat. So the white cat then leads him on but leaves him for another rich cat called Butch. And then Tom literally sells himself into slavery to buy her a car. And then when he comes to show her the car, his car gets destroyed by Butch's car. Tom gets really sad and then goes to sit on the train tracks, and his friend Jerry comes to cheer him up. But then Jerry's girlfriend passes by with another man. So then Jerry joins his friend Tom on the train tracks, and the episode ends with the lights fading out and the sound of a train.
Here's a quick conspiracy about coronavirus that you should know about. As we all know, coronavirus came from China because people were eating bats. People were putting bats in their soup and eating it, and that's how they started getting sick. But that had me thinking, what else is connected to bats? Batman. It's literally in his name, Batman. But this had me thinking, what does Batman have to do with the coronavirus? He's a superhero. He doesn't want to hurt people. How does he relate to the coronavirus? But then I finally figured it out. Believe it or not, in 2021, Batman has a new movie coming out. And there really hasn't been a lot of promotion for this movie. Or have they been promoting the movie this whole entire time? That's right. Batman has created the coronavirus to promote his new movie that's coming out next year. And this is not the first time something like this has happened. Back in 2016, people were dressing up as scary clowns to promote the movie It, and it actually worked. So everyone, there's no need to worry. Batman is just trying to promote his new movie, that's all. Make sure to spread the news.
Let's talk about crazy messages hidden inside of bills. If you fold the $5 bill, you see the Twin Towers. $10 bill, you start seeing them collapsing. $20 bill, they continue to collapse. You can see an alien in the dollar bill. How crazy.
Here's a quick conspiracy about Spongebob that you should know about. So if you look at Spongebob's name, he has the word Bob in his name. And the word Bob is also the name of a discount furniture store. So this had me thinking, what other store sells furniture? And then I finally figured it out. IKEA also sells furniture. So I decided to do a little bit of research on IKEA, and you won't believe what I found. I found out that IKEA was founded in Sweden, which makes it a Swedish company. Now, if you don't want to be scared, I recommend you to leave this video now, because this is when stuff starts to get creepy. So this had me wondering, who is from Sweden? And then I finally figured it out. PewDiePie is from Sweden. That's right, PewDiePie is actually SpongeBob. And if you still don't believe me, take a look at this. I found a picture of PewDiePie when he was about to turn into SpongeBob. PewDiePie, SpongeBob confirmed. Spread the news.
Conspiracy Theories, Part 2. This theory originates from a Twitter user by the name Strayed Away. The user then received a voicemail that sounded as following.
Sierra, Delta, Alpha, November, Golf, Echo, Romeo, Sierra.
The voicemail sounded like a bunch of random words, but it was actually using the phonetic alphabet. And when translated, the message reads, "Danger, SOS, it is dire for you to evacuate. Be cautious, they are not human," followed by a set of numbers. These numbers could be put into coordinates, which gave a location that was very close to where Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 was last seen on radar. Now this encouraged many other users to dig deeper into the subject. Drop a like for part 2. Conspiracy Theories, Part 2, continued. So in my last video we talked about a Twitter user who received this voicemail.
Sierra, Delta, Alpha, November.
Which was a phonetic alphabet message that could be translated to this. After posting the voicemail, the user received a direct message that translated to this, which was basically threatening him to take down the post about the voicemail. And over the next several days, he continued to receive these weird foreign language messages, as well as Morse code. As I mentioned in the last video, the coordinates given in the message were very close to the last location Malaysian Airlines Flight MH370 was seen on radar. And some Twitter users even speculated that the message could be a recording from the black box of the plane. Drop a like and follow for more.